Hey, hi, hello guys. Coming to data migration, myself Harish. I'm from Telangana. My mother tongue is Telugu. I speak in English for purpose only. So let's dive into the session. So see, in this session, I will go with the mapping, field mappings. In any migration object, we are going to have some options how we want to load in every structure. First of all, we will have fields, list of fields. Okay, those fields have options how we want to load. They can be in how we want to load. So those options I will explain. First option one, initial. So when we want to keep it empty, the field can be empty, we will maintain this value, so this field won't be loaded. When we use this field, when we want to load data but we want to bypass that field, we can use this field, or else we can simply ungenerate that field. That option also there. Okay. So second option is fixed value. When we want to load a constant value, instead of uh, loading that constant value for each record, we can fix that value for that object. That mapping is going to be constant. Then instead of doing that via BODS or Cinity, we can simply fix that value. Okay. Coming to transfer, this is mostly used, widely used option. The value will be loaded via file. Whatever we pass in Emigall file, that will get loaded. That is transfer. And rule based. See, when there are some scenarios, we can't perform operations in BODS or Cinity because the logic to be performed in SAP itself, because that depends on SAP things. For example, some log is there, some operations are there. On fly that code to be happened. So in that case, we select rule, that is option 4, and we say after selecting rule, we simply ask ABAPer to write the code snippet to for the conversion purpose. So we pass some value. After applying ABAP code to that, we will be able to see the new value of that. Okay. Once we get the new value, it will get loaded. And the KSM is very important because see, in legacy systems, whether it is SAP or non-SAP, once we load data, we will get new number. Okay. If this is the legacy value and this is a SAP value. So when we loaded this value into system, for example, ROM loaded, it became like this. So S4HANA knows this number only. It uses this RAM as a description or else something else legacy value like that. So legacy material, legacy partner, legacy anything can be converted to SAP because that SAP is a random number, we can't predict it. But there is a dependency object is there. So we are loading RAM child. But if we pass RAM, okay, system won't understand who is RAM. SAP won't understand. But if you pass RAM with KSM, so system will think there is a object with a legacy value RAM loaded and we need to use this value. Okay. So even though we don't know this value because that is a random generated number, right? SAP value is always random generated number unless we select the external yes. Mostly nobody will select external yes because we are going to face many issues. Very few projects when the integer don't come align in another range, those projects only go with the external numbering as external, but most of the project go with the internal. Internal means random number. See, while loading ROM shell, still we can map the SAP number. So we got the new number for ROM shell. Okay. Now system will see he is RAM, he is his child. Okay, this looks perfect. We were able to load correctly even though we don't know the RAM SAP number, a RAM SAP new created number. We used KSM. That is a functionality of KSM. And we have another option called we have another option called conversion. So when we load one value, it is going to convert to another value. That option is there, but nobody is using that option. That is why I didn't include it in the PPT. So that that will be handled inside the BODS or SAP itself. Why we keep load on S4 on a system, unnecessary load. So I will show in the GUI. See, for example, I select this segment. I have these fields. In once I go inside this field, I have initial. Okay, initial is blank. Nobody will use this option. First of all, if we don't want, we will simply won't pass any value, right? But we have that option. I'm just telling. Another option is fixed value. We can fix a value, hard coded value. Okay, there are already hard coded value available from SAP itself. We can still create our own hard coded value using create button. Okay, and transfer. See, transfer the data comes from the file. Whatever we pass, same the value will come from the file. And here we have a xref like lookup. So it won't allow everything. Some fields will have lookups. So this is a check table. We can pass data from the file, but that should pass this check table first of all. So we have only one value maintaining in this check table. So we can load that value and rule. When we go to rule, here we have ABAP rule. We can ask ABAP to write a rule. Okay, that option is there. And we have KSM. Once we go to KSM, we can mention from which object this parent is loaded. So we can pass the legacy value in the field. It will go in the that object and find the SAP generated value. And coming to conversion, we can maintain conversion object like what is what, which value should be what. Okay, like that. With nobody is using this. If you want, I can help you, but I don't want to use and waste time unnecessarily. And customer field. This was disabled by SAP itself because it is not useful. So mainly we use fixed value rule via KSM. 99% of the fields use rule. Remaining 1% of the fields use via KSM. If we want very rare fields, we'll use fixed value because those fixed values we can pass via rule also by hard coding the data in BODS itself. Okay, so conversion nobody use and rule nobody use unless our project is very complex. We need something from SAP while loading itself. We will ask the ABAPer to create that rule for our input value. So that's what.